This is Pastor Mike Burbeck, First Presbyterian Church, Wellsboro. I just wanted to give you an idea of what things are going to look like when we have our first in-person worship service since the pandemic started. First, if you are sick or you've been in contact with anyone with COVID-19, we do ask that you would stay home. We're still going to be live streaming our service at 10:30 a.m. on our YouTube channel as usual. So again, if you're sick or been in contact with someone with COVID-19, please do stay home. If you are comfortable and you are planning to come to church this Sunday, we ask that you would register. You've received that registration link via email. That will really help us to prepare. And also, we're going to ask that you arrive early, just to give some extra time for us to space out, to be 6 feet apart and prepare to worship. So this is what it's going to look like. You're going to be walking in, the door is going to be open so you don't have to touch any knobs. You're going to be walking over here to a hand sanitizing station and using the hand sanitizer to sanitize your hands. You're going to want to put on a mask. We're asking that everybody wear a mask, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this in a little bit because I know it's a little bit of a contentious topic. After you enter in, you've sanitized your hands, you're going to find our bulletin, which is right here for you to pick up. An usher is not going to be handing you the bulletin. Instead, you're going to be picking it up. And then you're going to walk into the sanctuary, and you're going to find a place to sit. When you look at the sanctuary, you're going to notice that every other pew is roped off. I do want you to know that just because it's roped off, if you sit right behind someone or right in front of someone, it's not quite 6 feet. So you are going to want to stagger just a little bit so that you're not directly in front or behind someone. You're also going to notice just a few of the pews throughout the sanctuary, there is some painter's tape. And what that is indicating is the distance of 6 feet. Just to give you a visual reminder of what 6 feet looks like. We're asking everyone to distance themselves at 6 feet. If you're a family, please feel free to sit together. Actually, it'd be helpful if you sat together, but that painter's tape is just giving you an idea of what 6 feet looks like. It's not telling you where you need to sit. It's just a visual reminder of what 6 feet looks like. When you greet each other, please refrain from shaking hands or even doing the elbow bump. Instead, we're just saying, say, hey, howdy, how are you doing? Wave your hand. We want to be communal. We want to say hello to people that we haven't seen face to face in a long time, but we want to keep that distance. So please, a hand wave would work just great. Now, you'll notice in the pew racks that there are no Bibles, there's no hymnals. And that's because everything that you need for the service is right here in a revised and expanded bulletin. However, one thing we do ask that you bring from home is please bring your own Bible. As you notice, there are no Bibles in the pew racks. We also want to let you know that there is no children's church. There is no nursery. That means that there are very likely going to be children that are joining us for worship that are not used to sitting through a long service. So parents, please feel free to bring your children. And for those of us that don't have children, please be tolerant. There might be some extra noise in the sanctuary, but it's a great time for us to gather together. And it's actually a great time for parents to begin to teach their children how to sit through a worship service. It's not going to be easy. It'll be worth the work. And you know what? All of us are going to tolerate it. Kids are not going to be perfect. They're not going to keep their mask on throughout the entire service. We're all going to have a certain level of tolerance about that. Dismissal at the end of the service is going to be from the back pews to the front pews. I'll remind you of this at the end of the service. So when we get to that point, those that are in the back will go first and exit the sanctuary, and we'll just work our way right to the front of the sanctuary. You'll notice that the offering plates are set up here in the back. We're not going to be passing plates. You can feel free to put your offering in the plate either at the beginning of the service or at the end of the service, and the counting team will take care of it from there. Now, about these masks. It is not easy to sing with these masks on. I tried to do it last Sunday. Please feel free to give it a try. Try to sing, But if you can't sing, this is the only time you will ever hear me say this, the only circumstance in which you would ever hear me say this. Feel free not to sing. Instead, use this time to reflect on the words that are being sung. We're really grateful that Angie Cole and Thomas Putnam will continue to lead us in the vocal part of the music. You can listen to them sing and just meditate and reflect on the words of the hymns and responses that we'll be singing throughout worship. Also, if your child is 2 years old or under, the CDC recommends that they do not wear a mask, so don't put that on your child if they're under 2 years old. And also, if you have particular trouble breathing, you may not want to wear a mask either. There are some seats on the far right, far left, and the very front. They would be really good places if you have trouble breathing and you're not going to be wearing a mask. Those would be great places for you to sit. And you can check out the CDC website just to find out if you fall into a category where it's not a good idea to wear a mask. That's pretty much how things are going to look. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. We are looking forward to being able to say with the psalmist, I was glad when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. For those of you who are comfortable, I'll see you on Sunday.